Good morning. Thank you for being here today. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm just simply Uncle Travis. I'm the twin brother to Shai's mom, Susan. I pastor in Findlay, Ohio, but today I'm just Uncle Travis, sharing some thoughts and memories from our side of the family. On behalf of our family, on behalf of my sister Susan, my mom Gina, my brother Kevin and his family and my family, we want to say a thank you to the Keatons for your graciousness. Thank you to this church for everything you've done for Shai, for investing in her life, for discipling her, for continually pointing her to Jesus. Thank you for your hospitality, arranging the accommodations for our family to be here and to stay. We appreciate it so much, and we just say thank you. And I also want to say to so many of you here today and so many watching online as well, I want to personally thank you for bearing the burden with us that we had for Shai for so many years. Thank you for praying with us. Thank you for pleading, interceding with us. If I had $1 for every time I requested prayer for Shai in a church service where I pastored, in a small group meeting, at a prayer meeting, if I had $1 for every time I requested prayer for her, I would have stayed at a much nicer hotel in West Virginia a couple nights ago. I don't know of a family devotions that we had where our kids didn't request prayer and we didn't pray for Susan, Brian, and Shai. It almost became one name, Susan, Brian, and Shai. We prayed for them every night. Our prayers for Shai were not in vain, thank God. Now let's be frank, were it not for those prayers, then the feeling of this service would be a lot different today. And the tears we're shedding would have been far different than the ones we're shedding today. Those of us who, on this side of the family, because we lived near Shai for so many years, we had a front row seat to the kind of life she used to live. But we also had a front row seat to the glorious transformation that Jesus Christ made in her life. And I know it might be strange to read this passage in a service such as this. Usually we would go to maybe Psalm 46 or Psalm 23 or something like that. But for the last couple of days, I cannot get away from Ephesians chapter 2. If you know anything about Ephesians 2, you know that contained in the first several verses, there's a lot of bad news. We're spiritually dead. We're children of wrath. We're followers of Satan. Paul lays it out clearly. We're without hope. That's not the verdict you're going to hear on Dr. Phil or Oprah, but that's the root of our problem. And until we accept the problem, we'll never see the solution. But in Ephesians 2:4, we find, I think, the two greatest syllables ever spoken in the English language, but God. But God, being rich in mercy because of the great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses and sins, he made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved. Now let the force of that hit you for a minute. Let me personalize it. Shai was helpless, but God. Shai was spiritually dead. Say it with me, but God. Like all of us, Shai deserved the full wrath of a righteous judge, but God. Like all of us, Shai was once helpless, but never hopeless, because with grace there's always hope. A video testimony that Shai posted some time ago, I'll just quote her. She said, "In Christ, there's an insane amount of hope." Doesn't that sound just like her? Prayer works. Susan, Mom, those prayers Papa prayed, they work. And prayer works because God works and God is faithful. Now, you have to forgive me for preaching, but the line between Pastor Travis and Uncle Travis is sometimes a little hazy. Our family absolutely loved Shai. She was the first granddaughter born into our family, and when God made her, he threw away the mold. There was only one Shai. Now, of course, her full name was Madison Cheyenne, but we all called her Shai. I think my brother Kevin might be the only one, at least on our side of the family, that called her Madison. He probably did that because he's the smartest one of us. He knew there was nothing shy about her. She never entered a room quietly. She never left a room quietly. You never wondered what she was thinking because she would tell you. She was absolutely so full of life and energy. Probably you saw some of the pictures scrolling through. Did you see the one of Shy with the little angel outfit? Well, you don't know what was going on to try to get her to even sit down for that picture. Susan chased her all over the studio, finally got her to sit down, had the picture taken, and Susan turned to the photographer and said, "Do you have any devil horns we can use instead? You know, this isn't quite cutting it here." I think that guy retired after that photo shoot. I don't know, but once Susan caught Shy cutting her pet goldfish in half. Susan said, "Shy, what are you doing?" And innocently she said, "I'm just trimming its bangs." Susan said, "I'm so glad I didn't buy you a puppy." She never lacked for anything to say. She always had a comeback, always. One of our favorite stories to tell. Shy was once on the church bus heading to either VBS or Sunday school, and she got into it with another little boy. Imagine that, right? And this little boy got mad at her, and he told her to go to you know where. Now, those of us who remember Shy as a little kid, remember she used to talk really Dutchy. You might remember that? And he told her to go to you know where, and she looked at that boy and said, "That's why I go to church, you blat, so I won't go there." That's Shy. Shy was the perfect combination of, I think, both her mother and father. I've said this about Bryce Sr. for years, that he could sell ice to an Eskimo. Well, Shy could sell a comb to Mr. Clean. You know what I'm saying? She could sell a hairbrush to a bald man. I mean, she just had that incredible personality. My wife Jody said about Shy that she could change the atmosphere of a room just by walking in. Sometimes for the best, sometimes not for the best, but mostly for the best because her personality and that smile, it was infectious. We loved her. She was a born leader. Beautiful smile, beautiful person, inside and out. She had a lot of her dad in her, like I said, but she also had a lot of her mom in her. She could have you in a headlock on the floor before you knew what hit you. Because I've been on the receiving end of those headlocks from my twin sister a time or two. But like my sister, Shy had an incredibly compassionate side to her. No matter what she was going through, she deeply, deeply cared for others. And I'm not just saying this because I'm up here, because I'm her uncle. She was quite honestly one of the most loving and compassionate individuals I've ever known. Even in her deepest, darkest times, she loved others. And she loved each of us in her own unique way. Every aunt was beautiful. Every uncle was her favorite. Every preacher uncle was her favorite preacher, although I must say, because I'm wearing her favorite color, purple, I'm her favorite today, right? You give me that, please, thank you. Every cousin was amazing and awesome. Oh, she loved her cousins. She loved her mom fiercely. I've seen it hundreds of times, the incredible bond, connection they had, love for each other. Susan Shy loved it when he would tickle her back for hours and hours, and just talk. Susan had a special nickname for Shy. Now, many of us, when she was little, and maybe even some, even when she was older, we called her Shy Shy. A lot of us just called her Shy Shy. That was her nickname. But Susan, only her mom called her Sissy Rooney Bops. And that came because Susan would bop her Shy on the nose when she was little. And that continued, obviously, when Shy was older, because you're never too old for your mother's love and affection. Never. Shy loved my mom, her grandma Gina, as we call her. And Mom, only eternity will reveal all that you've done for Shy. I'm ashamed to admit it. You know, I'm the pastor. I'm the preacher, but there were times I wanted to give up. I wanted to wash my hands and walk away, but you never gave up on her, Mom. She loved you so much. She loved her dad. To her, he was the biggest, strongest man in the world. She loved her brother, Brian Jr. They were best friends, Shy. To you were the best singer in the world, the best soldier in the army, the best big brother anyone could ever have. She adored your little family, so proud of Presley. She loved all her siblings, Jonathan, Abigail, Caitlin. She loved her grandma and grandpa. She just loved us all. And we're so thankful. Our family, our side of the family, we're so thankful that she got to spend some time with the Keatons when she moved this direction. So grateful that she was here. It's where she needed to be. Today we recognize that one reason we're here is because Shy was greatly loved. But the reason she is greatly loved is because she loved greatly. And we've all been on the end of that love, haven't we? Thank God. In closing, I want to read something from Shy's mom, Susan. Susan says to Shy, Shy, you were too big for this world. You always were. From the day you were born, you were a bright, burning star. You fought a great fight. You've won the race. You just had to beat your father, brother, and I to heaven. That's my Shy. Heaven don't know what hit him yet. Mommy loves you to the moon and back, Cicerunabobs. Now you belong to the ages. And I am determined, now more than ever, to get to you and make it to heaven. I know you'll watch over me till I get there, and I can't wait to boop your nose. Love, Mom. I didn't realize my sister was such a good theologian. Because the reality is we're all too big for this world. God created us for another world, and we all need to be ready. Shy just got there maybe a little earlier than we all anticipated or even wanted, but she beat us there. And I intend, by the grace of God, to join her one day. Shy, we love you. Uncle Travis and Aunt Jody will join you one day in that eternal morning. And we all need to make that effort to do so. Amen. It's a very special moment in the next part of the service, the celebration service today. Shy's cousins, and they're going to come and sing a song in honor of Shy. It's a very special song. It was written by Shy's cousin, Jordan Craig, and it's a song of hope. It's a song that reminds us that as long as there is life, there is hope. We keep praying and trusting God. No one is beyond the reach of God's grace. And Shy, by the way, would have loved this, right? Her cousin singing to her. She loved being the center of attention, right? And she's worth it. So cousins, sing it. Let's celebrate together the hope of the gospel in Jesus Christ. God bless you.